You know, we usually treat language like it's just a utility.
Like a utility bill, yeah.
You just want to get the point across and move on. But today's source argues that we're doing it all wrong.
It does. We're looking at an article called The Word Wardrobe, Dressing the Language of Surprise.
The word wardrobe. I like that.
And its core idea is that words are the clothes your thoughts wear. And, well, most of us are walking around in plain white T-shirts.
Just saying, I'm surprised or I'm shocked.
Right. It works, but it has no texture. So the mission here is to upgrade that wardrobe.
To get more specific.
Exactly. To replace those generic words with ones that have, a specific fabric and weight and history.
I like that idea of texture because surprise isn't just one feeling, is it? It's a whole spectrum. So let's look at the first piece in the collection.
Flabbergasted.
The author calls this the neon coat of vocabulary.
It really is. It's a showstopper. And the history behind it is fascinating.
Oh.
It's from the 18th century, and it's likely a mashup of two words, flabby and aghast.
Wait, flabby as in physically flabby?
Literally. The idea is that you are rendered limp with shock.
Wow. Okay, that completely changes how I picture the word. It's not just a mental surprise. It's a physiological failure.
Precisely. It's for those moments of total paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
The source gives this great example of a mayor finding out the town's oldest oak tree moved 3 feet overnight.
Which is, of course, completely absurd.
Right. But think about the reaction. You don't scream, you don't run, you just go limp. You're aghast and flabby. You stop functioning.
So that's the point of the word. It signals this kind of helplessness when you face the impossible.
Yes.
Okay, so flabbergasted is about paralysis, but the next word, gobsmacked, that feels much more aggressive.
Oh, completely different energy. If flabbergasted is that neon coat, gobsmacked is like a heavy studded leather jacket. It's visceral.
And it feels very British or Australian.
It is, yeah. Dobbs slang for mouth. So gobsmacked isn't abstract at all. It literally describes the feeling of being smacked in the mouth by news.
It's almost violent.
It implies a real impact. The example they use is checking your lottery number 17 times because you just won.
See, I would have thought that was being flabbergasted.
There's a slight difference, though, a nuance. Flabbergasted is often for something confusing or weird, like the tree. Gobsmacked is for high-impact information that just changes your reality.
A betrayal or a huge windfall.
Exactly. It's that hand-over-the-mouth moment.
Okay, that makes sense. Flabbergasted makes you limp. Gobsmacked feels like it hurts.
You got it.
But surprise isn't always so sharp, you know? Sometimes it's just messy. Which brings us to befuddled.
Right, the oversized wool sweater of the group.
It sounds kind of cozy, but the source frames it as something irritating, like an itchy sweater.
Because it's about the fog that comes after the shock. The key is the etymology. It comes from an old word, fuddle.
Fuddle.
Which meant to tipple or to drink alcohol.
So it's basically the linguistic equivalent of being drunk.
Well, of being cognitively impaired, yeah. When you're befuddled, you're not struck by lightning. You're just lost. You can't find the edges of the problem.
The source uses the example of an accountant staring at page 12 of a new tax form.
Which is perfect, isn't it? You aren't gobsmacked by a tax form, it didn't hit you, and you aren't flabbergasted, you're just stuck in a cloud and you can't think your way out.
I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. These aren't just synonyms.
No, they're like diagnostic tools.
They communicate the kind of processing error your brain is having.
That's a great way to put it.
So to recap the wardrobe, you've got flabbergasted, the neon coat, for when you're paralyzed by absurdity.
Then gobsmack the leather jacket for when the news physically hits you.
And finally, befuddled, that itchy wool sweater for when you're just lost in a cognitive fog.
It really proves the author's point. If words are clothes, then being precise is basically being stylish.
And that leads to the final challenge from the text. When you're telling a story, you should ask yourself, are you dressing your ideas to impress?
Or are you still just wearing the linguistic equivalent of old gray sweatpants? Trust me, people notice the outfit.